So Jake and Captain Beardy go off in this ship, and they were like, it was the first way that people crossed the. There was an old wives' tale that um, before warp drive, people could travel at warp speed by using the solar winds or some sort of like. And he made this wooden boat and made Jake go with him, and Jake did
Right, it was
one.
a
I want to say it was towards the end, before Jake left, which was no
it was
big loss.
before it was it was before um, Cisco shaved his head.
It might have been. Is it before he shaved his head? I
There.
thought he had his head shaved.
I seem to recall he still
Commander.
had a full head of hair.
How do you
I believe.
SISCO?
Yeah, Cisco. Yep,
Commander
SISCO.
Cisco on a boat with
So I think
on a space
that
boat.
sounds like maybe one of the last ones in season 3. I'll check.
Cisco, I spelled it wrong.
The Cisco.
Bajoran lightship. Something about a Bajoran lightship.
Yeah,
I remember that.
was that?
Oh, I think I've Bajoran lightship. Yes. A Bajoran lightship was a type of early Bajoran space-going vessel that utilized solar sail-powered spaceflight. Bajoran, blah, blah, blah. Okay, tell me what episode it was. Tell me what episode it is. DS9 Explorers.
Yep, it is Explorers.
What season is that?
That's season 3.
Okay.
I went to Netflix and looking up the episodes. So good catch.
I googled Cisco on a boat with Jake.
Google is your friend.
It is my friend. I find that episode beautiful because it's a complete. They're all about the future and technology, and they have things that can make anything pretty much, and they prove without beyond a shadow of a doubt that analog items were made it possible for them to be spacefaring. I love that. Oh, but we'll talk about it when we record. Sorry.
Yep. Hey, Damien is no longer in the chat room.
Damien.
Come back.
All right. But I think we are streaming live. You're in the chat, right?
Yes, I'm on the chat.
Yeah, okay, very good. And it says that we are broadcasting live, although when I clicked it, it wouldn't play.
Are broadcasting
Maybe I have too many streams.
Live, everybody. I'm getting echo.
All right, when I'm playing the video, can any of you guys get the video to work on yours? I mean, obviously you want to shut it off if you do. But
No, the video's not on mine. So
can you try it?
I can try. What do I do?
Just click the play button on the video.
The video
on
of the live feed?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can see you guys.
Okay, is it working?
I'll try it.
Mine's just hanging up, but it could just be my browser.
Oh shit, is that what I look like? Holy cow. I'm a mess.
Yeah.
Oh, you look great.
I see myself.
But your video is angled. You have it angled where you could see more of your red background than right now.
That was the plan, to kind of make it a little less. I would love it if it's just a little square, if there was a way to frame it up.
But can't you? Can you tilt it a little bit to your left? The video angle to your left a little bit.
How's that?
A little bit more.
No, because then you see more of my face.
Oh, okay.
There we go. We'll just do this. I'll make my mic higher.
All right.
So there's a delay, right?
Right.
As I'm watching it, there's a delay. How bad of a delay is it?
Well, when we talk, the chat room will hear us probably about a minute afterwards.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's significant, but.
There we go. Now it's on microphone.
All right. And apparently we can see it. All right. So I think that we are ready to rock and roll here.
I'll stop.
Okay, stop your video. We'll get a better thing.
So probably with.
So that's good.
There's so much crap in my room.
Well,
Don't judge me.
No judgment. All right. All right. Are we ready to go here?
Sure.
Record episode 2.
Jesus on a cracker.
What'd you say?
I'm mumbling to myself.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Miles, can you? I have you fine. I have that fine. Okay, we should be good. All right, rolling intro.
How many toys? Oh, I have my.
Well, welcome to episode 200 of the Sci-Fi Diner podcast.
Huzzah.
I'm one of your hosts, Scott Herzog.
And good evening, I am Miles P. McLaughlin.
And
Hi, I'm
it's
MC
awesome to be here. And M's here.
Oh my God! You did it again.
I was about to introduce you.
I'm done. That's it.
Well, last time you just muted yourself. Let's just restart that old dialogue over.
Okay.
Just about subtract. Okay.
I don't have my.
Welcome to the Sci-Fi Diner podcast. This is episode 200,
Good evening, I am Miles P. McLaughlin.
and I am Scott Herzog.
And I'm MC Earl Garcia.
Yay! We are here, guys. Episode 200 episodes, Miles.
That's amazing.
And what do you think? 200 episodes?
Who knew? That's awesome.
That is awesome. I can't believe 200 episodes. You know, and I was calculating it. It's actually like 370 some episodes is what we've actually put out of Sci-Fi Diner podcast material.
Holy cow.
That's an accomplishment.
That's close to 400 hours of recording.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Those are 400 hours that we will never regain out of our life, Miles.
Yeah, there's worse ways I could be spending that time. So I have no complaints about how.
Believe me, I don't either. I've been enjoying this ride. It's fun to come on each week and discuss science fiction with you fine co-hosts.
Right back at you.
Aw, you guys are swell.
Yeah. We want to thank the chat room for joining us tonight. And Damien and Jen. Well, Jen's popping in and out of the chat room, but Damien's there. He wishes us 200 episodes. So.
Thank you, Damien.
Yeah, absolutely. This episode comes courtesy of John Miro, who does the enemy lines, and he's part of the Serving Worlds material. He puts out a lot of good short stories and content, and so just go to servingworlds.com, you find him. It also comes courtesy of Raduz and Michael Cleland. So thank you guys so much for helping support the diner and making this episode possible.
Thanks, you guys. It's like you have your own booth.
I know. Yeah, you have your own table here at the. Yeah. We would give you a free cup of coffee, hands down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the sugar and the creamer will cost you.
It will. And Splenda. Don't talk about Splenda. But, well, we wanted you to know that we are just so happy that many of you have stuck with us for 200 episodes. That sounds bad to say that they stuck with us. It sounds like we're an old bump in the log. Really belongs in a geriatrics institution or something.
I think we're a long ways to go for that.
Hopefully. We want you to know that if you would like to support the diner, we have a Patreon page. That's Patreon, patreon.com/sci-fi. We'll get you there. We have a short introduction video that we're working on redoing, but it is there, and there's many different perks for signing up and joining. You can obviously get thanked at the beginning of the show, which we'd love to thank our supporters, but depending on what you pledge, it can earn you spots on the show. We can score you some awesome loot at the cons, and You might even get a personalized voicemail from Adam.
You will? Yeah, you will.
will.
You will. Okay. that sounds well.
Yeah, you will. So when we were talking about episode 200, I kind of threw it out to the listeners and said, what do you guys want to see in episode 200? And a lot of them had some of like our top 10 favorite moments, our top 10 guests, some of our favorite shows, how we met. And so we're going to do kind of a combination of those things. So this won't really be like a news show or an interview show just because it's episode 200. And hey, we're the Sci-Fi Diner, and we're going to serve whatever we want on this. It doesn't sound, we aren't that quite that way. But
wow.
We're the Sci-Fi Diner. We'll serve whatever we want.
You're throwing down.
But anyway, so I thought we'd do a little bit of that, and so a lot of this is thanks to you and some of the suggestions you made, and hopefully you'll find it informative, and a lot of different things we're going to talk about. We're going to be giving away a lot of good loot on the show tonight.
Oh, heck yeah.
Loot.
Yeah. All right, so I thought we'd get started by giving us just a little bit of a history lesson, and so we're going to actually step back and talk about, I guess, Miles, probably first. How did you and I first meet?
Well, our history goes far back before the Sci-Fi Diner podcast. You and I were working at this Christian community theater called Sight and Sound.
At community theater?
Well, maybe that's the technical term for it. It's probably a little, maybe back then it was more community. Now it's definitely more. It's grown leaps and bounds since then. But,
oh yeah. Yeah.
But we met at Sight and Sound. I was a stage tech, pushing sets around, and you were, for recall, you were an animal handler. And
yeah, I was driving horses across the stage of the show.
And oh my, was that an experience?
Yep. Well, that was not your first show. You came in '92, right?
Yeah, I came in the year before.
So, and then that was my first show, and I actually got hired on to play an angel in the next show, and I decided to work for UPS, which earned me a little bit more money in college. And terrible hours, but earned me a little bit more money in college for that.
Well, it might have been the best choice. Right?
Yeah.
But as far your wife and I have worked together at Sight and Sound for several years, so I've got to know her a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you were at my wedding, and
yes, I
was at your wedding. I sang at your wedding.
I sang at my wedding.
Yes. I won't sing for you here tonight, but I do sing and play guitar, and that's maybe another story somewhere. A little bit of my recording background. How did we hook up for the diner?
I think you and I were just chatting on Facebook about something, and then you said, you know what, me and some folks are going to go see The Watchmen. Why don't you come with us? And
you were very glad you did.
I have forgiven you for that.
Scarred by the big man with the big blue penis, right?
Yeah, that was quite the movie.
Did you see The Watchmen?
Yes, his junk was not in the movie. I looked.
Well, there was junk there. I mean, whether it's whether it's his or was CGI. There was, but I want to keep this family friendly show.
Yes, yeah. I was going to make a Doctor Who reference, like it's bigger on the inside, but that would sound bad.
Ew.
Oh, you had to go.
Anyway,
all right, moving on. Yeah.
So, but as far as our history goes, that sort of birthed it. We actually recorded a live podcast.
Yeah, it was like a post, like just a little recorder in the center of a living room, and we were sitting around with a bunch of people just kind of chatting about The Watchmen.
We gave our own opinions of The Watchmen.
And I think it was like the very first episode you were on, and we'll talk a little bit about when you actually joined the diner later. You actually were part of a podcast prior to that, because Don Bender, Chris, and I were running a podcast called So a Catholic and a Protestant Walk Into a Bar. And if I recall correctly, you called in or you wrote in regarding that podcast.
Right.
Did you not listen to that podcast?
Oh, I listened to all of them,
yeah. Yeah, all 7 episodes. Made it to 7 episodes. And then one of our guys, Don, decided that he didn't want to do it. He was heading into the priesthood. I don't think he was officially accepted yet. He was worried that the people that would be looking at him would discover this and not look highly on this conversation we were having. But It was nice. It was a good, honest conversation. It was fun, and
I still had fun. I mean, even though some of the choices of the movie were questionable, it was still this. At least we talked about what we liked and maybe what we didn't like as much.
Yeah, absolutely. Emma, how did we encounter you? Our history, I guess.
Well, there was an angel that came down from heaven and said,
When a bell rings, an angel gets wings.
Go forth to a con and meet people of other places.
Yeah.
We met at Shore Leave 2 years ago. 2 years ago, yeah. And I was at the time, I was doing a lot of work with Jay Smith. Hi, Jay. From HG World and all the super awesome people from there. And I went to a couple of your panels, and we just started talking, and I did some stuff for HG World that we put on your show. And between then, we were still having nice chats, and I think I guested on something on an episode, and then it just kind of rolled into what we've got today, which was really cool, because I was a fan. I've been listening for a long time, and I was a fan before all of this happened, so it's kind of awesome sauce. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you on the show, and great to have a female presence. So that's just a little bit about our...
You just needed a girl on the show.
We did. We
I
need our
know you guys.
Yeah, you know, if you listen enough and finally say, you know what, look, guys, I need to be on the show. You need a female here. That's it.
We need to be cooler.
Not true, but I'll take that.
Yeah. I believe it. I believe it. So. Well, we just want to. Let's move into our first giveaway. We're going to be giving away tons of stuff, and we want to say thank you to Radu, who's been a long-time listener. He's the guy that lives up in Vancouver, right, where all good science fiction is made these days.
Absolutely. Yes.
So
it's where all science fiction, any science fiction, is being made these days.
Yeah, except for WWE, which they don't allow near Vancouver.
Not science fiction.
Yeah, no, but it's on the SciFi channel. Come on.
Well, it is fictional.
Yeah, it is fiction.
It is fictional. That's true.
Science. There's science involved in the steroids and the chess. So it is science fiction.
You're not
right.
right.
I don't think science fiction fans appreciate it that
way. No, definitely.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, we want to thank you, Radu, for being such a supporter of the podcast over the years. We're going to give you a gift. I believe it was a series of Star Trek comic books.
Cool.
So I forget which one. I think the Next Generation comic books what we were giving him.
Okay.
So thank you. Well, another supporter that wrote in just to wish us a happy 200th episode is Jen. And Jen says, I can't believe it. 200 episodes. Keep up the good work. Always love listening to you guys. Here's a scene from Heroes saying his infamous yada. I thought it was perfect and pivotal since the show is returning. Still can't believe that. I just hope they don't ruin it again. Jen from New York. I couldn't find the scene of them saying, save the cheerleader, save the world, another pivotal known quote from the show. Jen from New York. So Jen, thank you for the congratulations.
Yes, Jen, you've been with us for a very long time. Pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah. And we have a gift for you, Jen. She's in the chat room. She'll discover this early. But Jen, we'll need your address for this, but we're going to give you a signed Walking Dead print.
Yes, signed by Melissa McBride.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's yours. Just get us your address, and we'll send it on.
That's exciting. That's so cool.
It is.
And of course, she'll hear it in like a minute since we're on a delay. So I'm watching to see what happens.
Watch the chat room, see what happens.
I could show
you. You should show it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She told show it.
Nice.
Colin wanted to know if the giveaways are still enterable. Oh, that's
yes.
Yay! Ooh, fancy. I was there when she signed it. It was cool.
Ooh, that has her DNA on it. Yes, we do. We have. We still have giveaways that we are giving away. Some have been spoken for, but Colin, if you're supposed to give away, you can.
Absolutely.
Miles is over here dumping stuff in the window.
Oh, I'm just trying to see what's what.
Stay organized, but
I'm trying to.
All right. Well, Miles, I think that you are going to kind of take us into our next segment here.
So we're going to look at some of the top 10 moments in the Sci-Fi Diner podcast history.
Yeah. So Jen says, "Yay, okay." By the way. Awesome. So she's like,
Yay.
woo!
Happy to do it, Jen.
Yeah, definitely happy to do it. So let's talk about top 10 moments, and these are in chronological order. These are defining moments, if I can speak here, of the Sci-Fi Diner podcast. And so it actually starts with kind of my journey into podcasting, so we won't go into a full history of that, but I really have to blame the tech guy at our school, Charlie Reisinger. This guy runs the entire tech department of a school district of about, well, there's 2,000 in the high school and then however many there are in the other schools, and he runs the entire thing. And he's been instrumental at spearheading the technology movement at our school. I mean, this year our school just implemented a one-to-one laptop where all high school students have their own laptop.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's absolutely, he's just phenomenal. And so initially back in the day, Apple was kind of running this Classrooms of the Future type thing, and it was a program, like a 3-tiered program, and each year you got to go to in-services. Well, I went to this one in-service at a local school, and in-services, for those of you who aren't teachers, are kind of like basically staff meetings for training staff meetings. And so what I did is I went to one of these things. He said, you know, you really should check out this podcasting panel, right? So I went and watched it. It was kind of interesting. I didn't think too much of it, but I think I subscribed to my first podcast then, at that point, right? And so he's really to blame. This is February 2008. So podcasting had been around about 3 years, 4 years at that point. But I was still kind of new to this whole podcasting thing. That summer, I was listening to many different podcasts. Some of them we will hear a little bit later on. And I started my first podcast in the summer of that year. And it was an education podcast. And then I started a poetry one. And then I started the one with Don Bender, Chris, and I, when we did So a Catholic and a Protestant Walk into a Bar. And that was the very first podcast I did with a co-host. And then December, well, I guess January rolled around, and this is my point number 2, the second defining moment. Don Bender, who was the original co-host of the Sci-Fi Diner before you came along, Miles, and before you came along, him and I, because my wife was working at Sight and Sound Theater at the time, or I think she was. She might have still been there. I don't know. Maybe she wasn't. But anyways, for some reason, Friday nights, Don and I used to get together and talk sci-fi all the time. Battlestar Galactica, Doctor Who, Stargate. We just got around and talked about it all the time. And because I was getting into podcasting, I just said, hey, why don't we do a podcast just chatting about sci-fi, stuff that we're doing? And so out of that, the Sci-Fi Diner was born. And that happened in February 2009. And it actually was not called the Sci-Fi Diner podcast.
I remember.
It was called the Dining at the End of the Universe podcast. And that was the very first incarnation of the Sci-Fi Diner podcast. So yeah, that's just a little bit of history of the first two points. And you were listening at the beginning?
I was, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, just for nostalgia's sake, and because some of you may not have heard this, I think Jen's been almost around from the beginning. She's in the chat room. But other than that, very few people have. Let me just play the very first intro to the very first episode that we ever aired. So just for nostalgia. Have you heard the very first episode?
I have not. You've just, when I started listening, they weren't available.
Yeah, so they are, many of them are available, and I'm slowly loading the backlog over. Yay. But here's just a sample of that first intro. You know, this is my first time here at the state. It's absolutely exciting. I just wrote 20 minutes ago. Welcome to Dining at the End of the Universe, where we serve up all sorts of spicy conversation. Science fiction. All right, so that was the very first intro to the very first Sci-Fi Diner episode. So yeah, that's going back.
Oh, yeah.
Spicy
Well, you can come up-
conversation.
Yeah, you like that? Spicy. See, it wasn't spicy conversation, until you joined.
Ah, bless. Is it because I'm Latin?
It's true. It's true.
Not only did we get a girl to join the podcast, we got a Latino girl.
Yeah, so it's great.
Are
It's
you not?
great.
Are you sure you're not regretting it? I mean, come on.
Well, no, we aren't.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Totally not. So, well, and then episode 3, or not episode 3, but point 3 brings you in, Miles.
Yeah, so I guess March in 2009. I mean, I don't think I was so much replacing Don yet at that point. It was just I think you just invited me. It was just to kind of join you guys, and then that's when Don felt that it was time to move on. So yeah.
And just so you know, it wasn't like bad blood between Don and I. When I started the podcast, and it's kind of me. Like if I do a podcast, I want to be doing it like weekly if I can. Mm-hmm. And Don was not really committed to that. He kind of wanted to do it every so often. And so we just kind of had a little bit of differences there. And he finally said, well, I'm getting ready to go to seminary. I mean, Don's studying to be a priest right now. He's in his, I don't know, 4th or 5th year. And he said, yeah, he was on a few other times after that, but we kind of felt that it was just a parting of ways or a way to bring us into in a new way. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry, I'm being distracted. Em, are you Facebooking me?
Yes, I was trying to secretly tell you something, which apparently didn't work.
I know. It buzzed. Not secret anymore. No, it buzzed up on my phone.
Way to go, Captain Subtle.
I am. I'm Mr. Subtle. I put the S in subtlety.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I just wanted to secretly send you.
Look now.
Well, we'll cut it in post.
I know.
It's the beauty of editing.
Yeah. So you're saying you can't hear. So let me ask the chat room this because I can edit this out later. Chat room, are you able to hear the clips? Like you weren't able to hear the old Sci-Fi Diner episode, Em?
No, I didn't hear the intro either.
Oh, that's weird.
According to John, the audio of the first podcast did not broadcast. That rhymed.
Yeah, Colin's saying audio is a little wonky. You couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
It's a live show, people. What do you want?
I don't know why it's not. I mean, because you're hearing it, Miles, right?
Oh yeah.
So and it's being plugged in here.
You're running it through your board, and he's hardwired right into the board. And I am via satellite.
Yeah, but the audio is running. It should be running directly in. That shouldn't be an issue.
It might just be a little toggled switch or something that's a little wonky. But previously on recording this, it's worked.
Yeah, it worked the last time. So I don't know what to do here.
That's okay. We can continue on.
Okay, we go.
The show must go on.
Actually, there is. I bet there is. Let me see this. Are they hearing you, Em?
I think so. Jen, Colin, M, or Jen. I read my own name. That's really bad. Damien.
All right. Do you know what it is? Is the build? They're hearing. I don't know how they're hearing you. It was coming in the built-in mic, not the built-in input to the show. So.
Oh well, now I actually hear you better. So no one's been. Oh great.
Yeah. Hey. Episode.
You guys just throw me under the bus.
Yeah, no one's been listening. So.
That's great.
Yep. Now you guys should be able to hear them a little bit better. Yes, we can hear them now. So good. I don't know why they could hear you before and not before, but you should now that you are there. So, all right. So they can hear the live content. All right.
Can you see my video feed, Scott?
I saw the episode 200.
Did you see this?
Thanks, Scott. Oh, great. We get all these messages throughout the show.
I got Post-it notes and I got a Sharpie. It's all going to be fun tonight.
Oh, that's
great.
Bring it on. All right. Did we finish number 3? I think we did.
No, because we're too busy fobbing things up.
I know. Well, let's move into number 4. Number 4, this is an important moment in diner history, and this is the day that we did our very first interview, which I believe, Miles, you set up. Do you want to talk about this interview?
Sure. So I had contacted John Broughton from Starship Farragut and just said, hey, we're a podcast, and we'd love to interview you and learn more about you and Farragut films, and that was our first interview.
Yeah, and actually, I think what we did, it was kind of in combination. We were doing a series of fan fiction or fan film podcasts. We did Star Wars, and then we did Star Trek, and I think he was in among the Star Trek fan films, if I recall correctly.
That's probably it, yeah.
And the reason that this is kind of a defining moment was not only was it our first interview, but in the next couple of episodes, we also interviewed Mike Schilling, and it was kind of a funny thing. I think you kind of said, hey, we should try going to shore leave. And so we kind of emailed him on a whim to kind of get press coverage. You said, well, if you're coming as press, do you want to interview the guests? And we're like, we never thought about it. We said, sure, we'd like to interview the guests.
We'd love to interview the guests.
Right. And around that time, we just seemed like the Dining at the End of the Universe podcast, which was the initial name, seemed to be a mouthful. And we kind of decided, and I don't remember how it all came about, but we decided to rebrand at episode 25, shift format, and this is our number 5 here, is to rebrand the show, change of format so it became a news and interview show. And we still talked about what we were watching, if I recall, but changed the format, rebranded, and began to air interviews from the convention, began to seek out interviews, not just with celebrities, but with many other people.
Anybody making sci-fi of any kind, they be an author, independent filmmaker. We interviewed somebody from the Star Trek Experience once, so if they were doing something in sci-fi, that was really cool.
Richard Hatch was earlier on.
He was one of our
40s,
right?
So one of the early interviews that we did. So this really was a defining moment for us and kind of changed the direction of the diner, a name that we're still kind of going under today, obviously.
Right.
Number 6.
So in episode 77, our very first listener feedback episode, Sci-Fi Diner Conversations.
Yeah. Now, it's important to note that we had been receiving like a couple of pieces of feedback, and we were tacking them on to the end of the show, if I recall correctly.
I think that's the way it was, yeah.
Is the way it was. But up to episode 50, we weren't getting a lot of feedback. We were doing our show, and we knew people were listening because we saw the downloads happening, but no one was really calling in or writing in. But around episode 77, I believe it was, we said, well, you know what, we have enough to begin to do a feedback show.
Yeah.
And so we did... I believe the episode was called The Sci-Fi Diner, The Year We Make Contact, or something like that, and then it became Sci-Fi Diner Conversations. Quit laughing at me, Em. Come on.
Of course I'm laughing at you.
They make contact, right? But anyways.
Nerd.
I know.
What we also did with that one was, I think, on our main show, we tried not to spoil anything. However, as far as our conversation, so all bets were off. We could spoilers ahead.
Yeah, and that's still kind of the philosophy for the listener feedback show. We talk about it, we assume you've listened to it.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so current shows, old shows, what you're reading, anything that's spoilery, we talk about if we want.
Yep.
So then what? Episode 86.
86. We start the Sci-Fi Rewind. And that was we did that with our friend Kevin Batchelder from the Tuning into Sci-Fi.
Yeah, podcast. Charlie Jade, I believe, and Angel. What was it? Angel and Charlie, not Angel, Dark Angel.
Dark Angel, yeah.
And Charlie Jade were the first things we did for that. By the way, do you remember who came up with the name Sci-Fi Rewind?
That was one of our listeners, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, in fact, she's in the chat room.
It was Jen.
It was Jen. Jen came up with the name for the Sci-Fi Rewind, and we voted on it, and people voted ultimately to have that sort of name for it because they had it. So that was the start of the Sci-Fi Rewind, something which, by the way, we're going to be doing again. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but on the calendar at the end of this month, we have Ender's Game.
Oh, good.
So we aren't rewinding. Yeah, we aren't necessarily rewinding it, but it's out in video. We'd like to kind of talk about that one.
Give me an excuse to rent it or something. So
yeah, Meg's going to force me to see it. And I know that Em has watched it. You watched it, right,
I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. And an excuse to watch it again, done.
Yep. Yeah. And then episode, or number 8, I keep wanting to call them episodes, but number 8 on our list.
Yep, 108. It was the first time we were nominated for the Parsec Award.
Parsecs!
Yep,
That's
so
exciting.
it wasn't nominated, we were finalists.
We were finalists for that.
Finalists for that in episode 108 or around there.
And we got nominated a couple more times after that.
Yeah, so we were nominated every year since, but we've only been a finalist 2 of those years.
So, whether we win or not, what nice thing was there's people out there listening to us. There's people out there nominating us because we're doing something right.
Yeah. By the way, I think the Parsecs are open again, so if you want to nominate us again, go ahead.
Shameless plug, shameless plug, shameless plug.
Yeah. Well, number 9, I think Adam needs to talk about.
Why?
Because that was the episode that you joined us.
It was. Shut
It was.
up. No, it wasn't. Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was. It was episode 171. We did an interview with John Billingsley, but that show, we brought you on and we talked about news, and it was kind of a trial, and we said, we like Em. Let's keep her.
Aw, bless. That was a hoot. I couldn't believe it. I think I'd been on a rewind once. I think we did a rewind and then the HG World stuff, and then you guys needed a girl. So here I am.
It's true. It's true. It definitely is. But yeah, so that's kind of you joined the show, and all bets have been off ever since.
I know. I'm pretty sure when you're done recording episodes with me, you're like, oh my God, and you're peeling your headphones off.
No, I'm just kidding. I have never.
Shut up.
Doesn't this girl ever shut up?
No. The answer? No.
No. I really should. Our number 10 really should be meeting Em and recording our first live show together. That's obviously a defining moment. That's an honorable mention. Down there, but my number 10 is episode 198 when we began streaming the SciFi Diner live and began having live shows where we bring you guys in.
I should add an honorable mention.
Okay, go ahead.
Shore leave. The last year we this is the first time that Em joined us in helping to interview the guests, and Em saw what sometimes, if you want the interview, you might have to jump over some hurdles, and let's just say you need to be very patient. And I saw Em was willing to jump over whatever hurdles and be as patient as possible to get the interview.
Aww.
So that was, Em definitely had what it took to podcast with us.
Well,
I just love the interview.
Well, I have an honorable mention just in general.
Go ahead, shoot.
Well, it's more than just an honorable mention. It really has been an absolute pleasure to go from listening to this show to being on this show was cray. I mean, it was just crazy. It dawned on me like a couple of months ago. Like, I'm listening to my podcast feed, and here comes the show, and whenever it pops up and I hear my own voice and my own name, and I'm like, this is just weird and bizarre. And I remember that the bumper you had at the front of the show, it seemed a little dated, so I emailed you and recorded a whole new one and said, you know what, if you feel like updating it, use this. And then all I got was, okay. And then I heard the next episode. And it was just every opportunity I've had with you guys has been wonderful. And being able to hang out at Farscape was an absolute thrill. And I cannot wait until we're all in the same room recording again.
I know.
It's truly. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
Now that we've all kissed each other's butts.
Yeah.
But genuinely, and I know it's not like, oh no, you're awesome. No, you're awesome.
No, Em, you're awesome.
Oh no, Scott, you're totes awesome.
Yeah.
You are bananas.
By the way, nice sign there. I just saw Em's sign. I don't shut up. You're missing it. You really need to. You really should have the video rolling quietly in the background, but it's kind of funny.
They've been changing. Don't give me Post-it notes. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's right. Don't give. David said that he started listening to the show because of you, Em. See?
Aw, that's really sweet. Thanks, Dee.
Brings all the listeners to the yard.
Hey, what?
All right. Well, let's move on. So those are our top 5
No
defining
response
moments.
to that. What the hell?
No re-
That's amazing.
yeah.
Zip it, you. Okay, moving on.
Oh, so Lee Kemp wrote in and said, I know you have this 200th episode contest going, and I'm just way too busy to send anything in, but I would like to say this. As far as changing your intro, I'm advocating to keep the music, keep the part of Firefly and Fringe in. It just won't be the same without them. And thanks. Today I listened to the Sci-Fi Diner podcast episode 198, so now I'm not too far behind.
Yay.
You know, sometimes we don't realize, I think, in the podcasting world that, you know, listening to an hour podcast, especially if you have a couple others that you're also trying to listen to, if you only have a short commute or maybe you don't have a lot of time in your day to listen to a podcast, that can be pretty daunting.
Oh yeah. I mean, I listen probably more podcasts than I do music, and so this weekend I got caught up. I listened to the Mission Log podcast from the John Champion Ken Ray do. I got backlogged in there, so I listened to a bunch of theirs. So
yeah, I mean, sometimes it is. So, but Lee, we're just so grateful you're a listener, and we just wanna share as our gift to you a signed Lee Arenberg print.
Right.
Nice. So we had a chance to interview Lee Arenberg twice, right?
Yes, we had, and there were 2 very good interviews, and Lee Arenberg has done tons of stuff in sci-fi and other things also. So this will make a nice thing for your autograph picture collection.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Well, and why don't you take it away and talk about the most downloaded episodes?
Oh my gosh, it's every time you mention like the different episodes and stuff that we go through, and then like because I jokingly say like all 2 of our fans, and then I see how many downloads. That's really cool. People listen. People like us.
Yeah, with this we ought to start at number 10 and work our way up.
Okay, so it looks like the number 10, 10th most downloaded episode. That's a lot of is episode 150 with an interview with John Young, Nikola Tesla from Sanctuary at Shore Leave 34.
Yeah, this guy was absolutely awesome.
He was, and if you've watched Sanctuary, you know what a national treasure Jonathan Young is, and his Tesla character. He just rocks.
And I think he's technically like a Shakespearean type actor. Is that right?
Shakespearean, yeah, and he does a lot of stage work. He has his own theater company. And so that's where he does a lot of stuff. I mean, he has done TV stuff. He's done a couple episodes of Stargate Atlantis. But if you watch him playing Tesla, you can just tell he's a stage actor.
Yeah, absolutely. Miles, why don't you bring us our number 9?
Our number 9 is episode 186, or interview with Vic Minana from Star Trek Continues. He's also has done a lot of voice work with some anime with Full Metal Alchemist and Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, and we've interviewed him twice.
Yeah, so this is our second interview that made this list. So this was.
Was this our second interview? Yeah, it wasn't our first, I guess.
Yeah, this was shortly after, a few months after their first episode debuted. So yeah.
Yeah. And Em, what about number 8?
So number 8, oh, I loved this episode, was our Sci-Fi Diner Rewind when we did Contact, episode 93. Such a great movie. So much fun. That we could have recorded that for hours.
It's very true. It's very true. I love it's still, again, and I said it on that show, but Contact remains one of my favorite movies. Miles, am I correct? It was the first time you had watched it?
Yeah, first time watching from beginning to end. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Oh, very good. Number, I just lost my list. Number 7, I just lost my list. I keep scrolling all over the place. Was Sci-Fi Diner Conversations, one of our conversation show where we discussed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Big Bang Theory, Sleepy Hollow, and more. So, I mean, this is just kind of I think it was the only listener feedback show that made the list.
Wow.
But it's, I don't know, something about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think maybe that brought it up, Big Bang Theory. So. If
I remember correctly, we were very openly not opinionated is the wrong word, but we discussed these like in depth, and I remember this. I really enjoyed that one. That was fun to do.
That was a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
Miles, what about number 6?
Number 6 was our Sci-Fi Rewind episode 22 with Blade Runner.
Yeah, didn't we? We did that with Wayne Henderson.
We did.
From the Resurrect. He has Resurrection Revealed is the podcast he's running now, but he was doing Fringe and Under the Dome podcast he's also run. And
Did Jim also join us for that one?
You know what? I think Jim might have. I seem to
recall.
Yeah, I think there was a fourth person in there.
I seem to recall that he was with us. I could be wrong, but
yeah, and I don't think you were with us at that point.
I was not. I'm still kind of new. I've watched Blade Runner a couple of times. I need to watch it again, but I would have watched it with much more intent if I was actually having to discuss it.
Well, I had watched it before, but I watched it with more intent when we had the discussion. I hadn't been a serious Blade Runner fanatic. Still wouldn't say I am, but
I'm not a fanatic of it, but I do appreciate it for what it is.
Oh yeah, it certainly it made its contribution into.
Oh yeah. And see how other sci-fi is borrowed from it.
And what came in at number 5?
Number 5 was episode 174, Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah, Into Darkness. So that was a rewind of that movie. It wasn't really a rewind; it was a review of the movie, and that was good discussion.
Yeah, and it's amazing. There are a lot of polarizing opinions about that movie.
Jim was on that one too, wasn't he?
He did join us for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to see a theme pop up because Jim appears one more episode in our top 5, and maybe we just need to have Jim on more because that just means that they rank higher.
Maybe if Jim is on, we get more downloads.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, there you go.
The Jim.
Yes.
Or fact. Are you still putting more Post-it notes on your mic?
Yes, of course I am.
I love her sign. Cumberbatch, Yumberbatch.
Cumberbatch, Yumberbatch, of course.
Nice. Number 4. Number 4 came in. This was our panel. It was our only panel, I think, to make the list, and that was our panel at Farpoint 2013, Fringe, Everything Ends. It was our Fringe panel, and that was episode 165B, and I believe Neil was on that panel with us.
Right.
And we, of course, loved Fringe when it was on, and Fringe had just ended.
Yeah.
And this episode still gets about 10 to 20 downloads a month.
Oh, really?
So even after this, it's still climbing up the charts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of people watching it now on Netflix. You'll hear someone later on talking about just watching it on Netflix.
Netflix is a wonderful thing.
It is. It is. Number 3. Miles, you want to take this one?
So we talked about the Jim factor.
Yes.
So SciFi, this is our SciFi Diner podcast, episode 192. Diner got hijacked by Raul Ybarra and by Jim, and they decided to make it a Babylon 5 centric episode.
Yep, and so this episode ranks as our number 3, which he was floored, by the way. By the way, they are working on a Babylon 5 podcast, which I think would be absolutely awesome.
Oh, they
kind
should,
of walking through the series. They've had a little bit of a. There's been some complications with getting off the ground, but it'll come. You watch. It'll be down the pike. So keep your eyes out for it, Diner listeners. A Bab 5 podcast. I can't talk, but they'll be coming down the.
Well, I just started watching. I actually watched my very first 2 episodes on Friday since it originally aired because my friend John introduced me to the show. He's selected a couple of episodes that he thinks are kind of key that deliver more of the meta story, the big giant arc, instead of the stupid little tiny ones that are, because it's a space soap opera. But it was, I'm going to say it here for the record, it wasn't that bad. It's a little dated, but there's still some relevance to it. So it's a neat list, and I think I'd love to share it on the Diner website and on the Facebook page. So if there are other people who are being introduced to Babylon 5, then they can start with that.
I think I told Raul that once I finished Deep Space Nine, that I would begin watching it, and I just finished Deep Space Nine.
Wow.
So, and let me tell you, when I finish a series like Deep Space Nine, I get a little bit emotional at the end. I mean, you're leaving these characters you've invested in for a long time.
It's understandable.
And so I was my wife walked through. She goes,
are you getting teary-eyed? I'm like,
Oh,
no.
bless.
Teary-eyed? Not at all.
Give me a tissue, please.
Oh, sweet little pumpkin.
I know.
You
So
poor
whatever.
little
No,
peanut.
I will be watching it. But I will watch that with you a little bit. I would love to come down to whenever you guys discuss it. I don't know how I'll be able to make it, but
Yeah, when we have it, there's a group here in the DC area called Geek Talk, and I want to say it's the first Saturday in May that we're doing it. John, please correct me in chat.
I'm running the Pittsburgh Marathon.
Who needs to run a marathon?
I know what the frick. Number 2, M. Can you talk about number 2?
Maybe if I get to the right page. Hold on.
Okay.
Episode so professional. The Sci-Fi Diner number 2 downloaded episode is 153. Our interview with Mackenzie Mason, Cortana from Halo 4.
Yes.
Very cool.
The Cortana, and that one still gets a lot of downloads too. But Cortana, of course, we got contacted by an agent and said, "Hey, you want to interview?" We said, "Sure, we'll interview someone for Halo 4's kind of science fiction-y, and bring her on." And she was the voice act. Was she the voice actor? No, she was the body.
She was the body because they use the same kind of technology they used in Avatar. I don't remember the exact
name of the thing. Yeah, I don't know
terminology, but basically, yeah, she's the.
That was so 50 episodes ago. I don't remember. No, I'm just kidding. But and Em, do you want to take us into number 1?
Yes. And the number 1 episode, I'm not going to do that. The number 1 downloaded episode is 185, our interview with Amanda Tapping. Well, Gadur from Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, Sanctuary, Supernatural. She's only in shows that start with us.
I know, it's true. It's true.
Amanda Tapping that was the neatest, funnest interview, and Miles turned 6 shades of crimson. It was adorable when she hugged him.
I did not.
You did. Your head got all shiny and pinkish.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It was an amazingly sweet reaction, and it was a very natural reaction I loved it. The interview was very cool, but just being able to witness that moment was really neat.
I could have died at that moment. I got a hug from Amanda Tapping.
Your life, there's nothing else to look forward to in life. No, that's not true. but
Getting a second hug from Amanda Tapping?
Yes, that would also.
It would.
Yeah. By the way, John said May 3rd is the date for that.
Yes, so I can post information if there's DC area, really anybody. If you want to come down and we get together the first Saturday of every month. It's kind of a neat thing. I will post more information on the Facebooks.
Yay! All right, well, that does it for our top 10 most downloaded episodes of the Sci-Fi Diner. Let's move into another couple of giveaways. We want to give this giveaway because Colin from England, who does the Correct News Reviews, right, podcast, is that him?
Yeah, I think he's done with that now.
He's done with that now. Is he still doing any podcasting?
Well, Colin will have to tell us.
He will have to tell us. But let me tell you what Colin does for the Sci-Fi Diner that a lot of you may not know. Colin will take episodes of the Diner, edit out our news, and put pictures to it, and then upload it to YouTube. And so he kind of has maintained our YouTube channel for us, and it's absolutely phenomenal. And so we just want to thank Colin for helping us out. And it's Colin from England, and as a thank you, we're going to send them a copy of the Star Trek comic book series, Cons.
Ooh, exciting. I miss Colin. He always left us wonderful notes and we could listen to his accent.
He still calls in every once in a while.
Oh, why don't you play them? I mean, it would be nice to hear them.
He hasn't done so in a little bit, but there we go. But someone that did write in was Mike from the Gatecast, and Mike wrote in. He said, "While it was fresh in my mind, I recorded a little ditty to celebrate your upcoming 200th episode of the Diner, and come to think of it now, the 100th conversation episode. Thanks for sharing all your interviews and keeping so many of us entertained over the past few years."
Yay!
Let me go ahead and just play what Mike Crate had to say.
Greetings to Scott and Miles, and of course M, who has added those special herbs and spices to the best dishes of the diner. Congratulations, guys, on hitting the 200th episode of the diner, which doesn't tell the whole story with the conversation episodes or other shows you're all involved in. I've been listening to the show for a good long while now, and I still prize my F302 I won in a Think Geek sponsored competition you ran, and all the quality features and interviews you've shared with us over the years. You have been and will continue to be one of the first shows I put on my iPod, even though being in the UK I am often a little behind in the shows discussed, making it more difficult to interact on your webpage and Facebook in a timely manner. Looking forward to the ongoing success of the diner, as I believe the dishes served are far from going out of style, that the movie, TV and other media sources have never been as buoyant a thing to discuss. All the best, and I'll have that second cup of coffee now. Mike from the UK, signing off.
Well, thank you, Mike. Congratulations there.
Yes, thank you.
I love the way you worded that.
It was. Oh yeah, that was great.
That was wonderful. His accent's
I know.
getting
See,
too-
adding spices. You're adding spices, Em. I forgot he won that Think Geek and then got the F302 model from Stargate.
I remember it now. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
right. That's right. You know, and he brought up a good point. You know, we talk about shows that we're watching, but if people are listening from across the pond or in Australia or depending where they're at, they don't get the movies at the same time we get them.
They get them sooner or they get.
Yeah, so it makes it harder, especially for the conversation shows. I would think it would make it harder for them to interact with.
Mm.
That's just, it's hard.
We're at the mercy of when the networks.
Air them here and when they air them there, and you know,
Yeah.
vice versa. There's stuff that they're watching across the pond that we don't get. So
Yeah.
So, but as a way of saying thank you, Mike, for your participation in the diner over the years, and because you are a Stargate fan, what do we have for him?
We have a lovely print of Masetta Vander, who she played. I don't remember the character's name, but she played a love interest for Teal'c, and so we have a signed picture to give to Mike. And Mike is a podcaster himself. He and Alan co-host the Gatecast. So.
Yeah, they do the Gatecast, and so we'll have to get your address, Mike, but we'll send this to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you. We actually have another giveaway yet that we're going to give away before we move into our next segment here, and this is from Dave Morley here from Blightly, England. So this is our English segment. Just to say, love you, great podcast, and would like to suggest a new clip for your intro. As a definitive sci-fi series, I think you have to have a Star Trek clip. I would like to nominate Dr. McCauley's classic, "I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer." Where's that line at?
That's original series Trek.
Well, yeah, I knew that. I just wasn't sure like what episode that came from.
Devil in the Dark, I think. It was the one with the Horta.
Okay,
Yes.
well, with the Horta.
Mhm.
So anyways, so he wrote in suggesting that, and we might have to look up that clip and maybe insert it. See, I don't know, like, I like all the clips we have in the intro. Like, we have Spock, Han Solo. I mean, who do I pull out?
I know, somebody would have to go. It's just, who do we boot out?
Or extend the intro longer. No,
Yeah, it's...
I think the intro is long
So
enough.
it's all intro, 5 minutes of show, and then 35 minutes of outro.
Yeah, you're still busting on me for having like a 6-minute outro.
Play the music forever.
I know. Turn it off.
Okay.
But anyways, so Dave Morley, you have won yourself for suggesting this a John Billingsley photo.
Yes, we have
Exciting.
a great print of John Billingsley as Dr. Phlox. from
Yes,
Enterprise.
signed. And so we are going to get that to you, and we have your information, so we'll make sure that we get that off to you. But thank you so much. Actually, I might just have your email. We might need your actual written address. Well, let's move into our next segment. We're going to talk about the top 10 science fiction shows to hit 200 episodes.
Mhm.
And there aren't that many. Now, so these are the top 10, and there's actually an honorable mention as well. And the other thing about this list is you must know that I did not include any anime series. So I know that anime kind of has a carryover. There were a lot of anime series that I could have included that have more than the 200 episodes.
Mhm. With live action ones, the ones we wrote.
Yeah, so mostly live action here. So the number one was actually a surprise, I think, for you.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this one at all, really.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even seen an episode of it.
So we'll start at the top and then work our way down. And these are all shows that made it to 200. And why don't we take every other one? I'll start, Miles, you can go, then M, you can take number 3.
Okay.
Does that work?
Sounds good.
All right. So number 1 with 1,110 episodes was Space Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Space Patrol, did you look this up at all?
I looked there, found out a little bit about it. Supposedly takes place in the 30th century.
Right. So it's 1950s television show. It was via television, radio, and comic books, but it soon developed a sizable adult audience that by 1954 the program consistently ranked in the top 10 shows broadcast on Saturday. So and it ran for 1,000 plus episodes. Is that possible?
Holy cow.
I know, that is amazing. Amazing that it made it that made that long. Number 2, Miles?
This is one I've really enjoyed the last 6 months. Doctor Who.
Yeah, coming in at 801 episodes. So that is a lot of episodes. But again, 50 years will get you that.
Yeah, and especially having a rebirth back in 2005.
That helps as well.
Helps a lot, yeah.
Yeah. How about this next one, Em?
So it's The Tribe with 260 episodes. Where was I when this was out? 1999 through 2003. A group of young adults struggle to survive in a world where all the adults have been killed by a mysterious virus. Dun dun dun. It's like I've never heard of this show.
Yeah, just someplace.
Did you look this up, Em?
I did.
Yeah, it was on what station? What station did that air on?
I can't even find that information.
You know what I did? I heard about this and I looked it up and said, well, maybe I should put something about it. But The Tribe, I remember hearing about this, and I don't think it was the type of sci-fi I was into at the time, and it just didn't stay on my radar. But I remember hearing about it. But that was about it.
I'm going to look it up a little information here about them on Amazon.com, which is where you can actually apparently get a copy of that through our store.
Yes, very true. And we do have a store.
So if you go through our website and you click on or search some of the fun sci-fi stuff you're looking for, not only can you get it at rock bottom amazing prices, but Sci-Fi Diner gets a little kickback, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it helps pay for the bandwidth and other stuff.
Yikes. Yeah, so it just says a perfectly blending, nice grammar, Amazon, but it's okay. A perfect blending, the stylized post-apocalyptic look and feel of Mad Max with teenage angst of Degrassi. New Zealand's The Tribe is one of the most remarkable series to ever hit the airwaves. No matter what your age, the first 26 episodes of this imaginative program, because I'm looking up at season 1, are sure to keep you glued to your television, eager for more.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. That's kind of cool. I dig that. It's Mad Max meets Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Fries.
Yeah, Lord of the Fries.
I haven't had supper yet. I'm sorry.
It is a diner, you know.
Yeah. Well, we are a diner. That's right. So we'll serve up some fries.
Somebody fetch me a grilled cheese.
Yeah. Coffee. Number 4, the first show with the most episodes was Smallville, which ran 10 seasons on the CW, at 217 episodes.
Yeah, sometimes I love Smallville, sometimes I hated it.
Yeah, and some people thought that 217 was a bit too many episodes. But hey, Tom Wellington? Was it Tom Wellington?
Tom
Wellington, like the beef. Which
That's right.
Was.
Yeah. Ding. All right. And,
I sometimes, I don't even know what I'm saying. Yikes. Anyway.
Yes. Number 5.
Number 5, Stargate SG-1 with 214 episodes. Ran for 10 seasons, I believe, and started out, I believe it was started on Showtime, I think it was, and then Sci-Fi Channel picked it up. Had a bit of a cast shake-up when Richard Dean Anderson left at the end of season 8. The Ben Browder took over as for Anderson's part in season 9 and 10. Also, what's her name? Claudia Black. Also, I mean, she was a guest star, but then she became a main character in 9 and 10 also.
Yeah.
But love Stargate. Didn't watch it when it was first out, but I think in 2011, after I watched Stargate Universe, I needed more Stargate, and so it was on Netflix, thankfully, and I just went through a lot of it in a short period of time, and Christopher Judge told me I should slow down.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So
If you put them all together, like how many episodes? If you put all the Stargates together, how many episodes is that?
oh my gosh.
Hundreds.
Yeah, well, yeah, it probably it ranks up there.
Oh yeah. I mean, Atlantis only ran for 5 seasons, and
2 seasons for
Universe,
and then the movie, and that's about it.
Yep. That's
Wow.
still a lot.
So yeah, so I bet 350 episodes at least. Mike Crate can tell us that. We should ask him.
Mhm.
Well, number 6.
Number 6 is interesting. It's called, and forgive me, I'm going to try and pronounce this the right way, but
Mike gave it to you.
thanks. Thank you so much. Do you see the eyebrow? Thank you.
See the eyebrow.
Hashmininya, which
Yeah.
is Hebrew for the 8. It's a television series that was broadcast in Israel. Although the show is designated for children and teenagers, it was also popular with adults. It's kind of neat. There's a couple of different seasons. The general gist is that there's 3 scientists who are investigating a type of energy called the lambda ripples, and they start experimenting on gifted children and their brain waves and all that interesting stuff. That, brains are kind of interesting. I actually want to find this and see if I can find it dubbed, because it is in Hebrew, and being a good Catholic, I don't know Hebrew very well. I should have paid attention, really. There's even they call the 4th season Hashmininya, the Next Generation, because it starts 7 years after the original season 3 ends, which is kind of neat. I'm curious if anybody knows about this. I would love to know more and find it and watch it.
I never heard of it. But it's not something that I think hit American soil that we know of, or that I know of. I'm not even sure that we can. Can you buy it here? I didn't find Amazon.
It's the internet. You can find anything.
I can find it somehow. So somehow someone will have it. Well, in the next one, that makes it at our number 7, I guess it is, 7th most episode with the most series is The Outer Limits, the original series, which I don't think I've ever watched the original series of The Outer Limits.
I think I may have watched one episode in black and white.
Yeah.
Back years ago.
I have vague recollections, but I don't recall watching an entire episode. I did, however, watch this next one.
Oh, and I've seen a bunch of these also. The Outer Limits, the revival series. I've seen many of these, and we saw lots of our favorite actors in sci-fi genre shows and movies make guest appearances in that.
All I remember was William B. Davis from the X-Files appeared in one of them, and I watched that one. But Outer Limits, both the original and the revival series, are said to have 203 episodes each.
So, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker was a guest in one of the newer ones. What's his name? Saul Rubinek from Warehouse 13. He was in a really good time travel one. I could go on. There's a lot of love the revival Outer Limits. They're fantastic.
By the way, John in the chat room said that all of the Stargate, including all the movies, 353 episodes and 3 movies. But I don't think he's including the original movie, because I think they made 3 movies with the television actors. If I'm correct. Arc of Truth, Continuum.
Those are the only 2. Yeah.
Only 2?
Sadly, there was only 2 of those.
Oh, so he isn't counting the movie. But,
so
yeah.
So Hollywood, look at how much.
I know.
You need to make more Stargate.
It's very true. Why don't you bring us in at, I believe it is number 9.
Number 9, and this post-it note is for John and Colin, who will understand this. They'll know what show we're talking about. The X-Files with 202 episodes. And I make this joke because we were incredibly lucky to see Scully and Mulder at New York Comic Con at their panel. They were amazing. Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny did this little bit where they, Scully and Mulder were on the phone chatting, and Mulder said something like, "What are you wearing?" And Scully said, "Purple lycra pantsuit." And she continued talking, and David Duchovny's like, "No, wait, go back. And then she just said it one word at a time, very slowly. They were ridiculously funny. It's a really. I remember watching this. It was one of the first sci-fi shows I watched. I haven't watched it in a very long time. I think I got through the first couple seasons, and then was shamed back into the geek closet and stopped watching. But an amazing show, and if I don't even really need to describe it, do I? Do I have to read the storyline? There's Kiefer! Hi, buddy.
Where's your picture?
It's right here. Hi, buddy.
Right there. Go ahead. She's there.
Where is she?
Speak, Em.
Hi, buddy. Hold on. I'm writing you a note.
Hi. Purple lycra.
That's an insight.
Here we go. This one's for Keith.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good video.
Yep. You're on video.
Hi.
Hi.
I pulled a prank on my mom 2 times. 3 times today.
You are so silly. What did you do to your mom?
I told her I was on red at school, and then I was like, April Fools, and she fell for it. And I pranked my dad on it too. And I knocked on the furniture when I was eating breakfast, and Mommy came running downstairs, and the dogs came barking at the door. And I also, and the third time I pulled a prank on her was, what did I do?
You're asking me. I don't know.
Daddy, Mommy,
I told you. I pranked you by telling you Netflix was closed.
I know. Wait.
Say goodnight, Em.
Good night.
Good night, Pumpkin.
Wait. So, here's what happened. So, I think
Stuff that you
really
don't
good.
see, chat room stuff you don't see on the show. We have a chat room running that people are chatting with us while we're recording.
Right now?
Yeah, right now. So now they're hearing.
What did I say?
No.
That he's
Okay,
so
he's out.
cute. Did he just peace out?
He's like, I'm out. I'm out.
Oh, buddy.
So just so you know, Miles, Chris is cursing you because of the chocolate cake you brought.
Oh,
Because
really?
we're never gonna get Kiefer to sleep now. So thanks a
Oh.
lot. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
So here's the story.
Yeah. All right. So where were we at? Oh, X-Files. You're talking about I wanted to ask you, in the X-Files, when you saw David and Jillian up at Comic-Con, did they like show up with like flashlights and it was dark?
No, that actually would have been really cool. The moder.
San Diego.
Did they really? Well, it's San Diego Comic-Con. We were at like junior high Comic-Con. We were at the junior varsity. We weren't at the varsity level.
Yeah, so X-Files, we'll talk about X-Files a little bit later on, but X-Files, phenomenal show. I watched all seasons. I have all seasons on DVD. Not that it matters anymore because I think I'm watching them on Netflix now, but I have all of them on DVD if I really care. So, our number 10, this show does not have 200 episodes, but it will within this next year, and it is in honor of Jen M, who loves Supernatural. Supernatural, I believe, is currently at 183. But when you add their renewed season 10, they will be passing the 200 mark.
they will.
So they make it onto this list. And we do have an honorable mention. Do you want to talk about that, Miles?
Sure. Our honorable mention is Mystery Science Fiction Theater 3000
Yes.
at 197.
Yeah, 197. So they don't have it, but rumors have it they're putting out some mini episodes. Did you hear that, Em?
So they put out mini episodes. They also do these really ridiculous like live feeds at movie theaters. We saw them. We went to see them last year. They were doing Starship Troopers, and it was a live feed from, I want to say, Chicago. So people in theaters all across the U.S. were seated. Everything was plugged in over the magic of the internets, and they riff tracked and MST3K'd it right there for us. So it's kind of they do MST3K stuff and they do their riff tracky stuff together. So I think they kind of blend.
I want to say though that they got signed on for a series or a mini series of some sort. I can't remember it.
Hold on, let's see.
Museum.
Oh, they are on the Discovery Channel right this second, according to John. As a new show? Hold on. As a new show? Question mark.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll find out. But
we'll edit this in post.
Yeah. But it says March 23rd, Mystery Science Theater 3000 returns to TV for getting to the article now. For National Geographic special. So it says that the story goes, the beloved gang behind Mystery Science Theater 3000 is returning to television for a wedding-fitting day of April Fool's, April 1st. That is today. Featuring a hapless man and two robots watching bad movies while making jokes at the film's expense. The cult series ran for 11 seasons and a total of 198 episodes, not 197 like we said. It was one of the longest-running sitcoms of all time. And so, next Tuesday, they are going to crack their jokes in National Geographic. Total Riff-Off will comprise of 3 episodes, each an hour long, featuring classic clips from National Geographic shows.
Oh, gosh.
So they're doing it for National Geographic.
How wonderful!
That's awesome.
That's very cool.
That is way cool. So that's what it is. So it's on. So we'll have to, find it on YouTube or Amazon.
We'll find it on the internets.
The internets will have it live. So, but very cool. So it's on right now. So those are our shows that made it to episode 200.
So a bunch of sci-fi shows have broke the 200. It's a lot harder now, though, to...
People cancel them way too fast.
They do. The networks...
Except CW. CW allows them to hang on a little bit longer.
Yeah, but if you're a show on a network, Sci-Fi Channel or something else, you either have to have the numbers or they'll drop you like a bad habit.
Yeah. Well, we have our next giveaway, and this is for Neil. And Neil wrote in a review for us on iTunes, said, fun discussion by the Sci-Fi Diner team on all things science fiction, books, conventions, movies, television, and more. Each episode is like sitting with friends at a science fiction convention. Loads of fun. And we've actually had the pleasure of sitting with Neil at a science fiction convention. So.
That we have. Last couple of years we get to see Neil at Shore Leave and Farpoint.
And he always ends up on our panel somehow. He gets roped in. We rope him in and say, Neil, come on up.
He knows what he's doing.
He does. He knows his stuff. He does.
Yeah.
He taught you and I how to play the Firefly game.
With just, glancing at the directions. I mean, he just,
Oh, he used a mind meld.
Yeah, he did. It's great. So, Neil, thank you for letting us sending that into the iTunes, which all you listeners can also leave your reviews in there. It always helps. And he's getting a Thomas Deckard signed Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles print.
That's a mouthful.
But it is. Mm-hmm. Say that 5 times real fast. You don't. All right. So, Em, we have another list here, and I believe this is our last list, and then we get into some feedback. So why don't you go into the top 10, whatever it is?
Well, it's the 10 celebrity, the fun. I guess these were some really great interviews that we did, and I'm going to rip through these really quick, and then we could each pick one to kind of pick at. But let's see. Hold on. I lost the page. So we had, I'm not even going to be able to pronounce this. Christopher Heyerdahl? Is that right? Heyerdahl.
Heyerdahl is the way we always pronounced it.
Okay, and then Kevin Sorbo, Edward James Olmos, another Latino on the show, nice. Robert Picardo, love him. Tricia Helfer, Lee Ehrenberg, who is just a sweetheart. Sam Witwer, Tori Higginson, and Christopher Judge, and of course my personal favorite, Amanda Tapping.
We kind of said earlier in the show that this list was not in any order, and there were many other celebrities that could have made this list.
Yeah, if you have a top 10, you got to limit it to 10. So
yeah,
and they're definitely not in any order. I mean, all of them were just phenomenal, and they all had something special about them.
Yeah. 5 of them are Stargate.
I didn't pick up on that, but yeah.
Yeah, 5 of them are Star.
Gee.
Yeah.
Robert Picardo was my absolute favorite. I loved him. He was so warm. He was so nice. I really hope that we get. Are we trying to get him for?
Shore leave. We'll get him on for shore leave.
Yay!
He was one of our.
He was, and his panels were so much fun. It was him and Ethan Phillips, and these guys had not been doing Star Trek Voyager for years, but these guys had their own little show called House Calls where they sort of reenacted their characters, and they hadn't lost a beat, and they had the audience eating out of their hands. So
Nice.
we got to at least see one Robert Picardo panel because it'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's move into another giveaway real quickly, and this is Matt Anderson from the Sci-Fi Christian, who said his favorite moment in Sci-Fi Diner history. You can't guess this, Miles. It was his favorite moment was the Sci-Fi feud that we had with the Sci-Fi Christian, and it was a fight between them and us on the Fringe finale, if I'm correct.
It was this one season finale, I think it was. The Fringe was still on.
Okay, yeah, so maybe it was season 4 of Fringe, and we just threw down. And I know, with hands down, we won that episode.
Oh, not only do we also won the Star Trek debate. I mean, it was,
oh, that's right. We were also a part of the. Yeah, they could.
Matt's co-host
Ben DeBono
just hated on Star Trek, and I just had to call him on it.
You do. You have to call people on Star Trek when they hate on it.
Absolutely. So we won that debate too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nicely done.
It was no contest, But anyways, we are sending him for his contribution here, a 100-page Star Trek spectacular paired with the issue of Batman. Batman Beyond.
He'll enjoy it.
Exciting.
Yeah, he will enjoy it. And despite the trash talk, Matt and Ben do put out a pretty good show. They're way past 200 episodes, I believe.
They might be, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yep. So let's move in. We're going to skip the 10 most influential podcasts. Maybe we'll share that at a later time. But we're running long here, and we have a lot of other stuff to talk about. So we're going to move into another giveaway, and then I do have a voicemail to play, and then we'll get into some other conversation. So Ken Warford, if I can speak here, Ken Warford. I can't speak. Can you say that?
Do you want me to say it?
Say it. Yeah,
Ken Warford. Oh, son of a nutcracker. Warford. Hey, Ken W.
And we love you. Ken Warford, who wrote in this review. I have been listening for a few years now, and it's my go-to podcast whenever they put out a new show. They cover all new shows and movies, and I should include books, audio series, fan fiction, such as the continuing stories of the original crew of Star Trek. That would be enough for most podcasts, but not these people. They get great interviews from those that make sci-fi shows we watch. Yep, they sacrifice their own time and money to attend different cons and get these interviews. And since I know I will probably never make it to a con, I really appreciate it. But wait, there's more. Yep, in a little time they have left, they also go back to watch older sci-fi movies and give them some new reviews based on the day's standards. How can they do all this stuff? Well, my best guess is volume. Happy 200, Diner Crew, happy 200.
Aww.
Well, thank you, Ken.
Yes, thanks, Ken.
You know, this goes to show, and we know there are a lot of you out there that listen to the show, and you maybe don't write in, and maybe don't leave reviews. This is, I think, the first time we've heard from Ken.
I believe.
And people listen for a long time, and they may not say anything. And so doesn't mean that people aren't listening. So for those of you that are podcasting out there, just know that. Be encouraged.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So he wins Eddie.
Yes, Mr. Eddie McClintock was kind enough to give us a print with his signature on it, and this will make it nice.
Eddie McClintock.
Yeah, and by the way, we had to tear this away from M.
You did not. I just hugged it a little.
Yeah,
no, we had to tear M from Eddie. That's what happened.
Yeah, just so you know. So not only do you get this print signed by Eddie with some of his DNA on it, you now get some of M's DNA also on it.
You know what? I'm going to make you say deoxyribonucleic acid. Do it.
No, you won't.
Do it.
Won't.
Do it.
Not going to do it.
All right.
All right, let me go. We have a voicemail in from Wayne. Let's go ahead and play that voicemail.
Hello, Scott, Miles, and M. Wayne Henderson here from the Resurrection Revealed podcast, calling in special party-laden congratulations on you reaching 200 episodes of your amazing Restaurant at the End of the Universe Sci-Fi Diner podcast. You would think that after almost 200 episodes, I would finally get the new name of the podcast right? I'm a little slow sometimes. So, Sci-Fi Diner podcast, that's it. 200 episodes. That's another awesome feat. You put those two things together, it's just epic. So, congratulations again, Scott, Miles, and M. 200 episodes of the Sci-Fi Diner. Here's to 800 more.
Aww.
Thanks, Wayne.
Aw, yeah, thanks, Wayne. Wayne's been kind of in and out of our podcast with feedback, and we've been on Wayne's show, and we've had him on the show, and it's great to hear from him. So thanks, Wayne, for the thanks and congratulations. Are you guys reading the chat room? I love Jen's comment calling him Kevin Sorbet.
Oh, yeah, he is Kevin Sorbet. Hello, nurse.
Yeah. Hey, it's Wayne. That's right, it is Wayne. We love having Wayne on the show when he speaks. So. All right, well, where are we at with this? Well, let's move in. This is an email that came in from Paul, and Paul wrote, "Hey, diners, I hope you're doing well. I was curious as to what episodes were your favorite from the following shows: X-Files, Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Firefly. Here are the ones that I picked as far as my favorite episodes. X-Files, for me it was Bad Blood. Star Trek Next Generation, The Measure of a Man. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, The Trouble with Tribbles. Firefly, Objects in Space, and then says, Live Long and Prosper Diners, signed Paul." So you guys have your list ready?
Sure do.
All right.
Right here on my Post-it note.
You got to get it on your Post-it note. All right, Miles, why don't you go ahead and go first? Tell us about your list.
I picked out 5 episodes of what I liked. I don't have any for
the X-Files.
The X-Files, right. But I really would. I'll need to watch that show sometime. But in Star Trek Next Generation, not in any major particular order. Season 2, Measure of a Man, I think, is a great episode. Yesterday's Enterprise, Unification 1 and 2, Relics, and Parallels.
But you had to pick 5, right? Not just one.
Well,
could narrow it down.
7 seasons. How can you just pick one? I mean, that's unreasonable, Scott.
Yeah. How about for you? What was your? Did you have anything for the X-Files?
I don't. I mean, it's been a very long time since I've seen it, and it's on my marathon watch for the summer.
Right. How about for Next Gen?
So for Next Gen, it's definitely, hands down, it's Darmok. I think by far it was the neatest episode where I think they truly were explorers and they truly were reaching out and made a huge stride when Picard was able to communicate with Darmok. And I find it fascinating and I find it beautiful. Just an absolutely beautiful episode. And then, do you want me to keep going?
No, we'll just kind of rotate around here.
Okay.
For X-Files, for me, I did watch X-Files, and I had a bunch. I couldn't pick one, but I did. Narrowed it down. I was a huge fan of the mythology episodes when the X-Files were airing, and Bad Blood was kind of a one-off episode with Luke Wilson, one of the early Luke Wilson episodes, and he was absolutely great in Bad Blood. Bad Blood was an episode that I've shared with my students many years. They keep seeing Bad Blood because it works with point of view. Like the story is told from Scully's point of view and then Mulder's point of view. And it's just funny to see their two different perspectives on the same situation. So that's Bad Blood. But the episode I chose because it was a mythology episode, and this Operation Paperclip, was the name of the episode in Season 3, Episode 2. And that cliffhanger at the end of Season 2 into Season 3, it was a 3-parter. It was absolutely phenomenal. I've gone back and rewatched that 3-parter many times, and it's really, I mean, it's government conspiracy, it's cover-up, it's aliens, it's the Navajo Wind Talkers, the whole 9 yards. It was just absolutely great. I loved that episode. So that would be for me my favorite X-Files episode ever. Well, let's move on and talk about Deep Space Nine. His was Trouble with Tribbles. Miles, how about yours?
I had to pick 5. Duet from Season 1. There was also Crossover. It was the first the Mirror Universe episode. The Die is Cast, Way of the Warrior 1 and 2, and I like the Trials and Tribulations also.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. And how about you, Em?
So I followed the instructions and just picked one. It was Explorer. It was the one where Cisco builds a replica of an 800-year-old Bajoran spaceship and tries to use it to prove the Bajoran explorers could have made it to Cardassia without developing warp drive. I just love the concept of doing science and being a part of and exploring, and even without computers and wires, to do it very analog, and they did it, and it was again another beautiful episode.
It was a very good episode, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
Cisco still had hair then.
And that is true. Mine was actually Far Beyond the Stars, which was a different episode for them. They go back to the 50s, and where they kind of envision Deep Space Nine as the creation of Benny Russell, a struggling science fiction writer in the 50s in New York City, who dreams of escape from racism and social tumult that surrounds him. He looks exactly like Ben Cisco, giving the rest of the cast a chance to ditch their makeup and prosthetics and appear as his friends, co-workers, and tormentors. This episode may be low in the production cost, but it is extraordinarily high in the concept. It's a captivating performance by Avery Brooks, and I love this episode just from the writing, being the writers in the publishing industry in the 50s.
Oh, that was a great episode too.
It was a good episode. So I put it as my favorite. There are a lot of good episodes in Deep Space Nine, so again, it's hard to narrow it down. But I didn't cheat like Miles did.
You can't narrow it down.
I didn't cheat, Miles.
You can pick your favorite. Do it now.
It can't be done.
So Firefly, Objects in Space, Miles.
I'm not cheating, but I'm going to give more than one.
Yes.
One was Book. The other was Our Mrs. Reynolds, Out of Gas, Trash, and Objects in Space. Those are my
almost all the episodes.
Well, yeah, I mean it's at least it's almost half of the episodes.
That is. There aren't that many episodes, Miles.
There's only 13 of them. Yeah.
Yes. Em, how about you?
For me, it was the train job. I loved that it kind of showcased each little character doing something jobby. But I'm going to honorably mention, I think it's the same episode, mentioned the Objects in Space. Is that the one where there were flashbacks where you got to, where you went back to everybody's origin story?
I was out of gas.
Yeah, out of gas. So in a conversation this past weekend, friends had pointed out that episode being kind of pivotal, and both of those are very pivotal differently, but in the same way for me. So I'm going to have two, since Miles had 30.
There you go. Yeah, he did. Mine is Out of Gas, actually, which is what you just mentioned. And this is, of course, the episode where the life support system fails. Mal orders a crew to abandon ship, but it's really the story of the crew and flashbacks as he's told. And I like that episode. It was a good episode.
Oh, great.
I don't think there was only one episode I found difficult to watch, and that's when Wash and him are getting beat.
Oh yes. Have you
hard
heard
to
the writings of Tan Su? Or am I saying that right?
It was just, it's good. I have to go back and rewatch that. We should do, as part of our rewind, is sometime we should rewatch the series.
Oh yeah, done.
Damien had something clever to say. M and Miles at Tanagra. Scott, his eyes open.
That's right.
What?
You just have to watch the episode.
The episode from it's taken from Darmok from Next Generation.
I watched Next Generation.
Do you remember?
Do you remember
This is is this the one with this is the Picard stranded on the planet with this alien creature and he has to communicate with it?
Yeah,
with this other sentient being, yeah.
So he has to and he tells the story of Gilgamesh.
Yes, that's the
yes.
One. No, I haven't seen it. I'm just kidding.
You're a jerk.
I haven't seen it. See?
It was very cool. I love how they came up with all the just the way that they could only communicate was in storytelling, and that so cool. Very special. Very cool.
I looked at that. My background, something that you may not know, is college, I have a linguistic minor, and so when I got to that episode, what I loved is just watching the development of language and communication across culture. It's fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating episode just from that angle. How do you communicate with someone that you have no basis for to communicate? And it was a phenomenal episode from that angle, in my opinion.
Should have won an award.
Yeah.
Every time I watch it, I keep thinking, no, Picard, listen to him. Damn it, man.
All right. Well, thank you for writing in and getting us to talk about that.
Thank you, Paul.
Appreciate it. This came in from Ken. Are we going to say this? Miles, you say his name.
This is from our friend Ken Warford.
No, good. That was pretty good. So, Miles, why don't you read he has two topics. Read them both, and we'll discuss one and then the other.
So, first topic I wanted to bring up was about the opening music scores that the Sci-Fi Diner shows use and you used to have. Like all
the Sci-Fi shows, not the Sci-Fi Diner shows.
Okay.
So,
Sci-Fi shows we used to have. Like all the Star Treks and Stargates, they used to have a full orchestra arrangements and a great theme music for the opening credits and major scenes. Side note, my wife got all the different CDs for all the Star Trek series for Christmas one year because she loved the music scores so much. Seems like these days are gone. I think it's going downhill. Stargate Atlantis, the first year was good, but by last year the opening had about 6 notes in it, and basically the notes they're played between the breaks the first year. Well, that's my complaint, and I'm sticking to it until you prove me wrong anyway. I don't think he's wrong.
Yeah. So you don't think he's wrong? Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't again pay attention too much to the orchestra, but you're right. The full orchestra. I don't recall any new shows having that.
Most shows have a very brief opening, as far as how it's very quick. I don't know if they're just trying to get more screen time or more commercials, but
it could also be a cost issue, because if you think about the shows before were attached to very large studios, so they had studio orchestras at their disposal so that they could create all these amazing, beautiful pieces of musical art. And then, then they started moving the shows to Canada and creating them kind of on thinner budgets. And so you get what you can get, or you, like on Enterprise, that's awful song. I just want to stab my ears out. Just oh, that song was terrible. It was awful. Did I say that enough? I think a lot of that happened once shows started moving away from being part of big studios and they didn't have big giant budgets. They had to thin it out, which is disappointing. I agree.
I think I would agree with that too.
Jen said that the Big Bang Theory, I think, is the only show that has a great theme song. That's the Bare Naked Ladies. They're amazing.
Yeah, but if still it's not a full orchestra. It's a band, right?
It's a full band.
I know.
Yeah, it's not orchestrated. It's not, that overwhelming music, the dun 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 kind of.
Yeah. Some felt that the. Do you know? As I've been watching Deep Space Nine, don't kill me for this, Miles, but the intro for Deep Space Nine was very long. That thing's like 1.5 minutes long.
It's
you
gorgeous.
say that like there's something wrong with that.
Well, it is, except when you're doing a marathon watch of it.
You just skip forward.
So the fast forward button is.
I know, but not when you're on the treadmill. I'm not going to try and fast forward it. But like, whoa!
You don't need your hands.
Yeah,
you're running.
Yeah. Well, he didn't finish. He had another question for us, and so why don't you go ahead and read this part?
I also wanted to know if any of you know who's going to be on with the podcast, Leviathan Chronicles. There seem to be several people asking about it on the Facebook page. No replies and no info since the last podcast was October 8th, 2013. I thought y'all were probably in the know, or know somebody that knows someone that knows somebody that knows something about it. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, Ken, thank you for having faith in us. We appreciate you writing in. Do we know anything about what's going on with Leviathan?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know why there has been a delay in putting out the episodes.
I know that they only were the goal was like, okay, when it came out, I bought the first half of season 2. On high definition, I guess it was, that I bought it on download, and so I listened to it way ahead in advance. And I think they probably caught up, and so I don't know if there's a delay in production for the second half of the season. And we haven't talked to Christoph. I haven't actually seen him online a lot, and it could be too that there are some personal things happening in his life. I mean, real life does sometimes get in the way of production of some of these things.
Yeah, this is not how he's making his living. This is a hobby, a side project. I mean, it's a passion of his, but he's footing the bill for it. So, we don't know why there's been delay.
Have you heard anything?
I haven't, but I know every once in a while on Facebook, one of his adventure photos shows up where he's adventuring somewhere in the U.S. and it looks like he's got this beat up old Jeep, or no, is that it's a Land Rover looking thing. It could just be that they're still gathering material. It could be that they're still doing pre-production work. They're doing during production work or post-production. We have some friends in common. I meant to ping a buddy of mine in the UK if he knew of anything.
I don't. We'll keep an eye out for it, and if we find out anything, we will share it on the show because it's it's hands down one of the best dramatized series out there.
Oh, definitely. And Ken, I'm missing Leviathan Chronicles like you are.
Yeah. Well, let's move into Mike Effinger's email. So do you want to read that, Em?
Yeah, hold on. As soon as I get to that page. Because I was looking up Christoph's stuff on Facebook. Okay.
Yep.
According to Michael, you cats rock. Thanks. Love the show. Been listening for almost a year now. Great to hear something uplifting from my fellow Washingtonians for a change. Go Redskins. Heavy sigh. I know. Ever since The Hobbit took it over, it's just not the same. I can't believe you're from D.C. How have I not met you? Okay. Anyway, I wanted to share some of my personal sci-fi likes and dislikes. Everyone in D.C. has a damn opinion. Amen, brother. Big fan of everything Star Trek from the original show through Enterprise. You just got to give it time. Star Wars was my big eye-opening into science fiction when my cousin took me to see it on my 11th birthday. Almost 50 now. Wow. I've been an official bleak blurred ever since. Since then, it's been all about Asimov, Frank Herbert, Octavia Butler, Terry Brooks, and George R.R. Martin. Darn it, man! Write faster! I know, you should hear the song, it's awesome. With the occasional spy flick tossed in, long live Sean Connery as Bond. I also like some of the things Marvel's been doing lately in their films. Finally, someone decided that superhero stories can and should be taken seriously. A former college philosophy professor called modern comics the new Greek mythology, and I don't think she was too far off the mark. It would be nice if they could remake the whole Fantastic Four debacle. Amen, brother. Too bad it took the people over at DC Comics so long to figure it out. Most of their offerings prior to Dark Knight have been pretty lame. So his top 5 TV shows are, no particular order, Reboot, Battlestar Galactica, great acting, great writing, Star Trek, all of them, X-Files, although the last season was a little Farscape and Firefly, and honorable mentions go to Eureka, Stargate Universe, Torchwood, and the Sci-Fi Channel's Dune miniseries.
Oh, very good. Very
wow.
Good. Well, I like
Thanks,
his top
Michael.
5. Anything you want to comment on here?
I like what he said about a philosophy professor saying that our comic books, superheroes are modern mythology. I could definitely agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts from you, Em?
Well, all of these are kind of, I mean, I like his list, although if you put aside the fact that it was the 70s, the original Battlestar Galactica was pretty amazing for the time. So give that a try.
Right.
And that would be kind of neat. I don't know if he's going to AwesomeCon in April, which is coming up here in DC. And if he is, it would be cool to meet up and meet a fan. That would be awesome, Saucy. Yeah. At AwesomeCon.
Yeah. It would be. It would be great. And, I love his list of top classic. I hate the X-Files as classic. I watched this
Dude, we're
show.
old. We're
It
old.
doesn't
we are a
feel
little old.
doesn't feel classic.
We were
Like
born
even
in the
putting
70s.
Firefly.
It's
When
classic
does
in the
a show
sense that
become
it's special.
That's special, all right, but I don't know about it being classic. And they even to put the reboot of Battlestar Galactica as a. I mean, how old does a show need to be before it's classic?
I mean, it only went off the air back in 2010.
But maybe we're talking about shows that are maybe modern classics.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, maybe, but
Yeah, I don't know. By the way, I do have some information about Christoph. So the Leviathan Chronicles, apparently, this is according to his forums. If you want to find out more, you can go explore the forums at leviathanchronicles.com. And all they say is, I'm sorry to hear you had family issues, but so glad you're back in the saddle. I guess I'm one of the few who purchased a complete shebang, and I've loved every minute. I can't wait for the second part of season 2. Good luck to you all. So apparently, there are some family issues that are also complicating things. So it sounds like it's not done. It'll be back. Just give it some time.
Real life kind of gets in the way of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I believe that kind of wraps up the show. We have some other. He actually sent in a couple other 5 and 5s, and we'll share those at Sci-Fi 5 and 5s in future shows.
That's a good idea.
So we're running long here anyways. What are we at? Well, we're about an hour and a half when you edit stuff out, unbarging in and us meandering through the show and figure out why people can't hear things. So, but. Yeah, I believe that about does it. Anything else you want to talk about? Show 200.
I know it's been a fun ride, and here's to 200 more.
Absolutely.
Amen.
200. I'll be pushing you around in a wheelchair, Miles and Em.
I will have a hoverboard by that point.
Yeah. Yes.
I will have downloaded my mind into a robot.
I will have my dog chair.
Your dog chair?
Yeah.
Dog chair?
Yeah, dude, dog chairs. These are animals that you sit on that kind of conform to your body, and then when you're done with them, they're kind of get up and they move to the side of the room.
Ew.
It's dog chairs.
That's
yeah.
kind of
Ew.
weird.
Dude, it's still weird.
You'll have Sarah McLachlan all up in your grill about that. She's gonna come sing
not sure
really sad songs on your porch.
Is that a bad thing?
She's easy on the eye when.
Yeah, she can be up in my grill any day.
Oh, brother, I know your wife. We're Facebook friends.
Yes. Empty threats. All right. Well, hey, I believe that about does it. We should wrap up this 200th episode. We will be bringing you 201 episode coming down the pike. And we have some great interviews to share with you as we begin our journey to 300 and beyond. Thank you guys so much for listening and for contributing to our conversations. Again, you want to support the diner? You can do so through buying your Amazon products through our SciFiDiner.com, SciFiDinerPodcast.com page, or by visiting our Patreon page, patreon.com/sci-fi. And we will be modifying that in the weeks to come, but be looking for other incentives and more ways that you can win prizes. I believe that is about it. Anything else to say, Em, in this 200th episode?
Just thanks for letting me be a part of it. I've just been a part of the last little chunk of it, and I'm looking forward to be part of it in the future as well.
Yeah, well, and we thank the listeners for, obviously we wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah,
listeners.
Yeah, that too. They have definitely helped. I mean, just thank you for listening to us geek out about what we're watching and enjoying, but also many of you listeners have contributed to how we do things on the podcast now. And I'm watching the USS Vengeance fly around in Scott's hand.
All right, well, I believe that's about it. Miles, why don't you take us out of the show?
All right, till next time, good night and good luck.
We'll see ya.
Do your dailies.
Exit music.
Thank you so much for visiting the Sci-Fi Diner. We hope you enjoyed the food, service, and the conversations. If you'd like to share your thoughts regarding what we've talked about, or tell us what you're watching or reading, flip open your communicators and contact us at 1-888-508-4343, or click the SpeakPipe link at SciFiDinerPodcast.com, or
Send an MP3 or typed email to sci-fi-dinerpodcast@gmail.com. You can also join the conversation on our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/sci-fi-diner. We'll share your thoughts on our listener feedback show. If you'd like to support the diner beyond the conversation, you can always throw some coins in the tip jar at sci-fi-dinerpodcast.com.
Did you see the doodle I made?
I did, but I've got up on another screen. But look at that. Go ahead. Oh, look. It's got. You got to see it. You can't see it. Just you can go into your video, I guess. By the way, there is one other prize that we're going to give out. Colin did send his name in. So we'll get Colin a prize here before he logs out. So, Colin, make sure if you did not send us your information, make sure you did send us your information, like as far as your mailing address in particular, because that's what we need to kind of getting that. So yeah, Colin, make sure that you do send that to us. What?
I'm looking.
Are you looking at his little drawing?
Yeah. It says so. There's no hair. Runs marathons. The cute one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want that on a T-shirt. I won't put it on a T-shirt.
Oh man!
It really has been so much fun, and it's very cool to be able to be a part of this. And I feel kind of badass when I co-host a podcast. What's it about? Oh, that sounds awesome. It does sound awesome. You should listen. So it's very cool.
What amazes me, Ab, is like you've taken it saying, well, I'm just going to sign up for every con I can go to.
Yeah, of course. Well,
right.
It's kind of like so I figured it's a good way to build our name and to get it out there like as much as possible. And I know that you guys are married and I'm single, so I have a lot more flexibility with being able to run around with stuff. So I love going to them and I love getting information, and now I'm much more comfortable with the whole interview process. So I feel really good that I can, and confident that I can go out and get some content to bring back to the show. I would love if you guys can make it down to AwesomeCon. They wrote back. They actually would they're supposed to be sending me a list of panels because Emily said that there might be some panels they'd like us to sit on.
Well, depending on that Saturday, I might be able to make it. I just got to see how.
Easter weekend.
Yeah, it's Easter. It's a tough weekend for me to get away, but Saturday I might be able to do it.
I mean, and with the world of technology, it'd be even more fun if we just brought my laptop and had you there via Google.
And we could do that too. Depending on the internet connection that you have at the con. So if it doesn't suit to come, maybe we can just pipe us in virtually.
That'd be a blast. I mean, in all things, especially for this, I want to do you guys proud. I want to make sure that I'm contributing and I'm not just riding on your coattails being adorable.
Adorable does help.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
again, you really only needed the extra X chromosome, right?
Oh man.
You're not saying no, so it's yes.
It's yes.
What I was going to say was
Miles is speechless. So am I.
No, the Big Bang Theory panel that you helped host at Farpoint, I think you did a phenomenal job there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
The dude who was sitting next to me, I was afraid he might explode. He was very passionate about the quintessentialness of the beginnings of sci-fi being from literature, and I respect that. And he was really passionate, and I was kind of a little bit afraid, but I get that. He was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Well, it returned. Somehow, I remember it did return to what it needed to return to.
No, it did. It did. It did. That's awesome. Yeah, AwesomeCon. Well, I hope to be there. We'll be in touch. I think we one of before then.
Yep.
The 15th, the next time that we're going to be recording for that. So.
Ooh, also, since I've been talking about the show amongst all my gaming friends, and I know you play tabletop games with your son. Um, the Have you heard of the game Sentinels of the Multiverse? I think I've talked about it.
Yes.
Chris Bedell, one of the creators of the game, they just launched a Kickstarter that has gone exponential. They're really amazing, and it's a neat game, and they've created more games in this multiverse. I'd love to do an interview with him to have on the show, just to kind of open it up to like kind of that nerdy gaming sci-fi superhero kind of way. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you're looking for a time to set that up,
Mm-hmm.
I know that are you thinking of like Miles, you and I interviewing him?
Well, I thought it'd be neat if we could do it via the Google Hangouts. That'd be kind of cool. Or if we did it offline, it didn't have to be on like a recording night. It could just be, anytime. He's pretty flexible. He's going to be at PAX East, which is coming up in April, I think. He told me anytime would be great.
I think that on April 15th we are interviewing. Who are we interviewing then? I can't remember. I know that I have set up an interview with some audio drama. Actually, we're going to have an audio drama on, and this is it's loading. It is Pip Ballantine and T. Morris from Ministry of Peculiar Occurrences.
Oh, okay. I know that show.
Yeah. So they're, and I'm also working on lining up an interview with Eric Van. I forget his last name. He's a guy that does the Jason Bourne novels.
Oh, wow.
He's done, like Robert Littleman, of course, passed away in 2001. He's been commissioned by the franchise to continue writing like the Bourne Supremacy, the Bourne. There's like 4 Bourne novels, and then he has his own series. So there's a chance also on that night we'll be interviewing him.
Okay, cool.
I haven't had that's at least.
Awesome.
So that night will be cool, but let me go back to the actual Google Calendar here.
Okay.
And we have here, but we would probably have the 27th is geared to be actually have it as a Firefly Rewind app, but we can that's May. Back up to
April 29th. I think.
April 29th, we're going to do the Ender's Game Rewind, but we can certainly do an interview in and around that.
Okay, let me ask him about that.
So if it doesn't work if it works maybe for you to do the interview, you can certainly do it, and we'll air it whenever.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
If he's doing a Kickstarter, it may be one of those things that you'd rather do sooner rather than later, so we'll have to figure out a way to work it in.
Yes, so I was gonna, if like one of you or both of you, or if you just wanted me to do it, we could record something really quick, something fun, and then get it out before his Kickstarter ends. But that dude's not hurting because they were going for $50,000, and the last time I checked, it was $147,000. He's got a huge following. I mean, the game is ridiculously popular and super fun. And when Kiefer's older, you guys are going to have a even like as adults, just get like a bunch of your superhero friends together. Get your super friends together, and play. It's really great.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, is there anything else we should talk about tonight?
Do we need to record some sort of intro for the...
the Arrow panel. We were going to do the intro for the Arrow panel. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay.
Let's do that. So you guys in the chat room, you can certainly hang around for it as the chat room's still running. But let me go ahead and restart a new recording here. Arrow panel, arrow. All right, you there, Em?
I'm here.
Yay, Em. All right. So let's go ahead and introduce this. This will be we'll count this as episode 201. So we'll introduce it as that.
The guy that was with us, what was his first name again?
It was
Wayne's brother.
Was it Ron or Rob? Ron Hall.
Ron Hall?
Let's call it Ron Hall, and we'll just go with that.
Okay.
Call him Ron.
Call him Ron. Ron Hall. All right. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Diner podcast. This is episode 201. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Herzog.
Good evening. I'm Miles P. McLaughlin.
Hi, I'm MC Garcia.
And
I'm so sorry.
dude, I'm waiting. All right.
I was making a dramatic entrance.
You were making a dramatic entrance. Anyways, we are here tonight. We're bringing you a special episode. This is an episode that we recorded at Farpoint 2014, and it's one of the panels that we had the privilege of actually sitting on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we did a panel on Arrow, and Arrow is absolutely a phenomenal show. It continues to be phenomenal and good, and we have a couple episodes left this season yet.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought before we get to the end, before we get to the end, we're going to air this episode. Now, please understand that this episode was recorded at the beginning of February, or middle of February, and so many episodes have happened since then. And so some of the information will be maybe a little bit dated, but there's some good relevant information about the show that we're going to be sharing.
If nothing else, you get to hear a bunch of people geek out about a show they love.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Em, just so you know, you will not hear Em's voice in the panel. Why is that, Em?
Because I wasn't there, because I don't watch the show.
Yeah. You were actually there in the background, but you were dealing with that whole key debacle.
All right, can we not bring that up? Because all right, so I lost my car keys, my set of car keys. I must have had them in my hand while I was walking around the little stores and the shops and just left them on a table or something. And these guys were awesome and walked through the whole place with me. And I had to call a locksmith, and I have the most expensive key to my car now. And that's it.
Man. Yeah, that was tough. But anyways, this was happening as we did the Arrow panel, and David Moulton did the recording for us, and we sat up there with Ron Hall, who's an avid comic book geek and knows a lot more about the comic books in Arrow, and he gave our comic book basis for the Arrow, really.
Right, and he's a face at the cons and
both Shore Leave.
Farpoint.
I wonder if Balticon too he doesn't show up at, but the cons in the Baltimore area, you'll see his face pop up. But this is our panel that we did at Farpoint, and it's us just geeking out about Arrow. So if you like Arrow, hope you enjoy the show. That's about it. That works.
That works.
Yep.
Huzzah!
That works. I didn't mean to bring up bad memories, Em.
It's totally okay. That's just really funny. I had actually forgotten about that until you said it.
See, now we have it on the podcast for posterity's sake.
Oh, you're the best. Giving you the eyebrow.
Yeah. The eyebrow.
I'm gonna change the post-it note so instead of it saying runs marathons to big giant meanie.
Oh my. All right. Well, I believe that about does it for us talking tonight. We still have Damien, Don are still there. Team Felicity. Arrow's getting ready. Damien's on Team Felicity.
Oh, really? Like the show, or is there a character?
No. We're talking about the character Felicity in Arrow.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
She's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. I agree with that.
Who's Felicity?
She's a blonde.
Oh,
she's a tech girl.
Oh yeah, that Felicity.
Yeah, it's that Felicity. Yeah.
She's not hard on the eyes. No?
And be quiet.
And she's adorable. She just manages to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But she's so cute.
You guys give me grief when I talk about guys on the show, and you guys, it's not on this.
By the way, Colin loves Sentinels of the Multiverse too.
Yes, he and John were kind enough to teach me how to play it because I'm a little thick when it comes to games with a lot of different instructions, and so they were we played it on the boat, on the Joko boat, where I was with my close personal friend Will Wheaton.
Awesome.
If I don't throw that into every episode, I'm gonna die.
Do you have the? Do you have your doll around?
I don't. It's in the living room.
How did you get a stuffed doll of Will Wheaton?
So they did. I can't remember the whole story, but it turned out that someone just drew this mini Will Wheaton and decided to make little stuffed characters. So I jumped on it and ordered one. I didn't know what I was doing, but then when I got it, it was so cute.
Has he seen these little Will Wheatons?
Oh yeah, he signs them. There's people who he's got a couple of them. People make the sweater that Wesley Crusher wore with the rainbow on it.
Right.
Somebody knitted a mini version of that and like put it on their mini Will Wheaton, and there's a picture of Will with it.
That's awesome.
I mean, this has got to be bizarre, right? That there's a minifig of you.
That is bizarre. You want to see it? There you go, bud.
Kiefer, isn't it time for bed?
Dude, he's supposed to be asleep.
Is it because of the chocolate cake?
It is probably because of child hate.
Bad Uncle Miles.
It wasn't that big a piece.
All right, my loves.
All right,
I'm going to.
We gotta let you eat. What's up?
I think. Wait a minute. I think there's a tarantula on your back. April Fool.
You are a goofball, mister. All right, go to bed, young man, and then I will talk to you guys later.
Hey, thanks for going on. We'll keep you in the loop.
Good night, Em.
Okay. Night, kids.
Bye.
Was that it?